Are you burned out before lunch? Your energy might be costing you more than you think, especially in business. Fueling your body with sleep, nutrition, and movement directly impacts how you show up, how you lead, and how you grow your business, especially when you are an entrepreneur. In this 30-minute-ish conversation, this is for entrepreneurs who want to bounce back quicker from burnout. This is for entrepreneurs who want to stay productive without crashing. And for those who want to build resilience in both body and in their business. It's real talk about how to fill your tank on purpose. So today, we are going to talk about the fact that you can't scale your business if you are running on empty. Paige Percival, our health coach Paige, welcome to Strategize Your Business Online. How are you doing today?
Hi, Dee. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on, and I'm honored to share with your audience.
Right. Thank you so much. I'm very excited to have you. I'm always engaging with in your comments on LinkedIn and all the other social media platforms. And I'm like, ooh, need to have Paige on here. Now, Paige, before we get started, I just would like to say hello to everybody who is watching. Now, if you're watching live or if you're watching the replay, thank you so much for spending your time with us today. We are streaming live on LinkedIn. It will be there for the replay as well. And whatever platform you happen to be watching this on, I would love if you could share in the comments the name of your business, your website, so we can find it a little bit later and share with us like who it is that you help, like where is it that you lie in your zone of genius. And it's interactive, so feel free to ask questions or to share in the comments. So Paige, I'm going to give you the floor. If you can start off by letting us know, a bit about your business and what it is that you do and who it is that you serve.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for the beautiful introduction. I think you captured it well. I love helping and sharing with women, mostly over 40, who are looking to reset their bodies from the inside out using mindset, perspective shifts, nutrition, sleep, movement prompts, and just helping them feel like their radiant selves again. Too many women in this age category have been told that it's normal to feel a certain way after a certain age, and I love debunking that.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that because, yeah, we have been told that this is the new normal and also that there's like nothing, sometimes it sounds like there's nothing else to look forward to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that that's the case. And I think, this is a time for transformation and to really, get the signal from that your body is sending you and be able to step into a beautiful new identity and more radiant health than you've ever experienced. Because sometimes
Right.
it just falls to the back burner. And so your body may be asking you for it to prioritize it a little bit more than you have in the past.
Right. It gives us a lot of signals. Well, can you share with us, Paige, like how you got into this? Like share a bit about your journey.
Sure. Yeah, sure. So at the time, I was working in corporate and having my children. And by the third child, Stella, I was starting to feel pretty spent by the end of the day, getting them all into bed and just really not having much left over, just plopping down on the couch maybe and often reaching for snacks or turning on a screen to kind of distract or just crash at the end of the day. And when I finished nursing her, I tried a 30-day reset, which was mostly food-based and some other health practices. And I was floored by how great I felt within a few weeks of taking out some key foods that may cause inflammation in your body. I had way more energy, my mood was more balanced, and my body composition was shifting. And so that prompted me to investigate further in kind of the functional medical field, which is all about getting to the root cause of some symptoms that may manifest as disease in your body or represent some ill health. And I looked into biohacks, and a certification just came across my screen that really appealed to me. And it was with the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. And I finished that certification and started my health practice. One more key part of the journey occurred about 3 years ago when I completed a Peter Crone mastermind, that's spelled CRONE. And from that place, I began to identify some of the subconscious patterns that were behind my stress, exhaustion, and sense of self-worth. And then that just elevated my health to a whole new level. And from there, I began really wanting to share that with others as well.
Oh, interesting. So, going back for a moment, you talked about your 30-day reset. So, did you like go online, go to the search engine and start keying in some of your symptoms, and then it came up with the 30-day reset?
I actually had heard about reset through friends, and they had done it. And when I first heard about it, I wasn't sure it was for me. And it was cutting out inflammatory categories of food, and then some other things like the obvious ones, alcohol and caffeine. It was coffee. Yes, we cut that out for 30 days. And the other categories were gluten and grains, sugar, dairy, and processed oils. So it sounds kind of drastic, but it actually, once you get into it and decide, and then you're in a group and get over the initial hurdles, it's actually really manageable.
Oh, okay. I have a quick question, but I'm going to say hello to Kim Murphy. Yeah. And Kim, thank you so much for watching. And her company is called It's a Wonderful Life Coaching. Love the title, Kim. And Kim coaches women 50 plus to release self-limiting beliefs and take their life back. I love it. Now back to my question, Paige. I hear the term often, inflammatory foods. What does that mean?
Yeah. So those categories of food I mentioned are the four most common for creating an inflammation in your body. An inflammatory response could be like in the case of gluten, where your digestive system have these, or your gut lining have these cells, a lining of cells that protect the rest of your body from food particles that pass through. So gluten can cause loosening of these junctions between the cells, and food particles can pass through, and then your body attacks them as if they're some sort of invader or foreign matter within your body that is not serving you. And from there, some symptoms can arise. So it might be bloating, it might be skin rashes, it might be headaches, it could affect your hormones, imbalances, cause digestive issues. And if we are not really tuned into which foods may be causing those inflammatory responses, because they're not always immediate. A food intolerance could take up to 72 hours to manifest as a symptom. So something you ate a few days earlier could show up as a symptom or cause a symptom later on, and you would never be able to pinpoint that. But when you take a 30-day approach to removing these foods that could cause inflammation in your body that lead to symptoms, then the antibodies, they fall off, and you start reintroducing the foods, and you wait a few days as you're introducing one at a time. You really dial in to how that food makes you feel. And I've had women who do this elimination portion who are so surprised by the reactions that they have to certain foods.
Wow. I'm so glad I asked, you
Yeah,
know?
like, yeah, yeah. And if you want examples, so for instance, the sugar is an obvious one, like that could cause a headache right away, like within minutes for most people. Or, even something like chickpeas or certain nuts people weren't aware of have caused bloating or even temporary weight gain of a couple of pounds, it appears, after you eat it, and then that kind of falls off again. But there's a whole list of symptoms that we monitor as we're reintroducing foods.
Okay, thank you very much for answering that. So I want to
Yeah,
go
of course.
into the fact that, like, I know who you work with, but why I really wanted to have you on the show as well. Like, I wanted to take this time to talk about the fact that, the fact that as entrepreneurs, or we might be like senior leaders, that a lot of us are suffering from burnout, sometimes me, often me. We're suffering from burnout. And, I mentioned earlier about trying to stay productive without crashing, and that we're struggling to build resilience in our body. Why do you think that that's happening?
Well, I did allude to subconscious patterns. So most people are in survival mode. So they're in this fight or flight mode throughout the day, stress, anxiety, which is fear for the future. They have these beliefs that are below the surface, that are blind spots, and they're running the show. And a lot of people, then become kind of burnt out, or it leads to disease over time, and your body really isn't able to rest and digest when it's constantly, like, your nervous system is constantly on alert. And therefore, symptoms start to show up. And that may even be hormonal imbalances. It may impact people's sleep, which then
Mm,
that impacts their next day. There's such an interplay between stress, nutrition, and sleep. So if you're not sleeping well, then your ghrelin and leptin hormones, which signal satiety and hunger, they get out of whack. And I don't know if you've ever been kept up at night and then the next day find yourself in the pantry a little more, or reaching for less healthful options. Or when you do eat, you're not digesting the food as well. Again, so there's such an interplay between those three categories that can lead to burnout, it can lead to moodiness, brain fog, lack of productivity, and sometimes depression and anxiety. Over time, it can accumulate in that way.
right. I think about the fact that my daughter, she'll get these treats. And I know when things are feeling really good and I'm exercising and I'm well rested, and she'll say, okay, I have these chocolates. I'm going to hide them because, maybe I'm going to stay up a bit after she goes to bed. And when I'm feeling really good, I say to her, hey, you don't have to worry. I'm not going to touch them. Right. But then
Yeah.
sometimes I'm pretty upfront on those days that she'll say, okay, I got these chocolates, or I have these candies or sweets. Don't touch them, mom. And when I'm feeling like I'm not well rested and I'm stressed, I say to her, if I were you, I'd hide them.
I love your honesty. I so appreciate that. It's true. I think if you've had just such a stressful day, the little dose of hit of sugar and chocolate is temporary relief, right? It's like a little boost. And if you've had a bad sleep and your energy is suffering, then again, it's like a little kick of energy. But the unfortunate thing is that it could take it down quite soon after.
Right. So, with regards to this topic, what is one impactful thing that we could all do to help out? Like, and I know quite sure one of them is going to be about sleep, like getting some more rest. But if we're already going through some stressors, but what would you say is like one thing that we could start today or start tomorrow to help lead so we could work towards bouncing back quicker from burnout or staying productive without crashing?
Yeah. One thing, oh my goodness, that's a tough one because they're so interrelated. But if I had to choose, I think the foundational piece of this is who you are for yourself. So the identity piece. So being able to, if you're really anxious, realize, okay, there's a subconscious belief there that's likely linked to your safety in the future. And realize that that's not a truth. That's a reality that you experience based on how you were raised and grew up, and then how these patterns have been playing in your head for probably decades. So being able to have some awareness and practice releasing these beliefs that aren't really serving you. And from that place, you get to create rather than react to circumstances around you. You get to realize, okay, I'm held, I'm in the return to presence because you're never in your future. And that's just something that your mind may be creating about a deadline or not performing well at a talk or, not meeting a revenue target. And rather than imagining that negative future, you get to come from or use your imagination for better intention and goal. So it's
Right.
equally possible that you're going to crush that talk and that you're going to blow through your revenue goals. So, when people come wanting to lose weight, it's not that they necessarily want to lose weight. It's they want the feeling that they think losing weight will result from losing the weight. And the beautiful thing is that feeling is available right now. And once you come from that feeling more often, then the weight loss, that will fall off.
Right. Good. So
So
it's
I would
what
say
I'm
identity
hearing.
shift.
Yeah. So that identity shift, it's like starting at that root cause. But if we don't start off at that root cause and we're just like, oh, I'm going to set the clock and go to bed earlier, or I'm going to just make sure I eat properly, that other stuff is very important, but it's more like a band-aid because we're not dealing with the root cause.
Yes, that is so true. Once reset the foundation, then those other things are optimization. And they're way more sustainable when you come from a different place. When you come from who you are for yourself is this like energized, fit, beautiful business owner. Once you're
Right.
coming from that place, then those optimizations will take hold rather than coming from the resistance of the past identity.
Thank you very much. Now I want to shift to, the fact of like you work with women, and I wanted to like move into Like when they are, when they book with you, they come to you, they're like, oh, Coach Paige, I want these things to fit a little bit better, or I feel bloated, and or whatever the case is. And I mean, I've been through that yo-yo dieting, and I just want like maybe a quick fix. How is it that I can get to a sustainable weight? And I'm speaking about weight. However, I know, like from reading your content, it's more than about losing the weight. And I love what your LinkedIn headline says. It says about transforming beyond the plate. And you spoke about some really great things here about stepping into, like if you've got that anxiety about a talk that you need to do, or some anxiety about the way your business is moving through, and you spoke about like stepping into the fact that things could be very great. But what's your role in terms of transforming the mindset of your clients that you're working with?
Yeah. Um, so I work both with a group of women for 12 weeks and one-on-one. And in group, we do identify, triggers, and through these triggers, we're able to uncover what some of these limiting beliefs may be that they're living from. And in parallel, we have the nourishment piece where we're focusing on blood sugar balance, nutrient dense foods. We have meal plans that are simple and also easily incorporated into busy lives. So, like the principle of cook once, eat twice. So maybe having leftovers for lunch, so that you're not always in the kitchen. and then there's that whole cutting out 4 categories of inflammatory foods, so that you get to figure out what foods are serving your unique biology. And then on the sleep piece, we look at some key areas like managing light at night. So it could be wearing blue light blockers and dimming your lights. Yeah, it looks like you have some. And if you're on your phone, maybe switching to red screen mode, because women over 40, their progesterone's starting to tank, and so there are strategies that can support improved sleep. Now, the food piece and cutting out those inflammatory foods will definitely help sleep. And then, in addition to light management, like having a nice cool bedroom, almost like you're in a cave, so that there are no lights. I have blackout curtains and no clocks or digital lights in the room. Also, timing your meals so that you're not eating too close to when you go to bed, and therefore digesting food as you're sleeping, rather than kind of going through the replenishment process, where you get to truly rest. So those are kind of some key tips around sleep, nourishment, in addition to the identity and mindset piece that we work on throughout the 12 weeks. There is a different health theme every week. So we look at supplementation, we look at hormones, how we can incorporate movement throughout the day, and go a little deeper into why some of the foods are inflammatory, and how else you can balance blood sugar. For instance, going for a little walk after a meal is also very blood sugar balancing, or the order in which you're eating the food. For women over 40, also, we focus on getting enough protein to fuel our beautiful muscles.
Right. Well, I think I've mentioned this in your comments often. Like I read a blog post a long time ago, and your blog post was about going out for a walk after eating. And I always remember it. And you must be like, oh, she's sharing about this again years later in my comments. But I just want to say to everyone that Paige has a post, like a blog post on her website, and it talked about, you know, going out for a walk in the evenings. Or, I mean, I love, if anyone follows me on other platforms, I just love heading out for a walk. It's the worse the weather, the better. But say in the evening, going out for that walk, and like I'm feeling like I'm walking, and I just feel like my tummy is kind of settling a bit, and because
Yeah.
like often for me, and I don't know how anyone else feels, maybe they can share in the comments, but you know, sometimes we're eating, and then when we're sitting, it just feels like everything's just kind of sitting in the stomach. But I'm going out for a walk, not a power walk, just a nice walk. Also being distracted by all the wonderful things that are out there. The other day, my daughter and I, we saw a squirrel go into somebody's recycling bin. So we don't know if it made it out. We're kind of afraid. We heard it moving around. It was a great walk, but my stomach felt much better. So that's been a huge takeaway that you know that I have received from you with regards to you know my health. And I also want to say that you mentioned about turning off lights or using certain types of lights on your phone or adding like the curtains to the room. And what I really
Yeah.
enjoyed about hearing that is that it wasn't just like, okay, ladies, eat well and make sure you go to bed early and turn off the lights. It was like you understand that there's a science of it. When we're taking a look at that digital clock, there are some lights there. Or we're living in a digital age. Paige is saying, I get that. So change the lighting on the phone. I really enjoyed the fact that that's something that you're having everybody implement.
Yeah. And I have to say, your walk after dinner is such a beautiful practice for more reasons than blood sugar balance. I mean, you're connecting with your daughter, you're out. It sounds like you're really present in nature, which is beautiful. And the circadian rhythm benefit. So you're probably seeing the sunset or getting that late evening light, which also helps signal your melatonin, which will help you go
Mm.
to sleep more easily. So, yeah, light management, I think getting early sunlight, ideally with a walk plan, is also beneficial, and getting the evening sunlight is great. And some other light tips, I have a Himalayan salt lamp in my bathroom, which I brush my teeth to and kind of do my wind down routine. And then in my bedroom, I have amber lights. So amber or red lights do not allow the blue light in. So those are
Oh,
a couple more tips
oh,
for
I'm
light
loving this.
management.
I love it when I learn from everybody on the show. So thank you so much. So Paige, what is next for Radiant Self Wellness? Like, do you have any promos that you want to share with us?
Okay, thanks for asking today. I actually have a group starting in next week. You can join up until the 28th of April. And then there's one-on-one coaching. I have a few spots open for that as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. About how many people do you usually have? Like, do you have everybody like in a group? Because I know sometimes there's Facebook groups or there's groups on other platforms. Like, how is it that you
Yeah.
connect with everyone?
We have a weekly meeting, and everyone is welcome to join that. It's also recorded, and then we use WhatsApp for
Mm,
our interim discussions and posts of interest that are related to the weekly theme.
nice, nice. Thank you for sharing that. Nice and
Yeah,
simple.
I used to actually use Facebook, and then I had someone who vehemently was against Facebook, so then I switched to WhatsApp at that point.
Right. Yeah. I have a LinkedIn group and I was vehemently myself against Facebook. So I just needed to be somewhere else too. And this is, folks, this is nothing against Facebook, but sometimes it's just a reminder that, I guess we're showing up where we're most comfortable. So I have a couple more questions for you, Paige. And this is something that I ask everybody because I do marketing. And I'm always so curious when it comes to social media, Paige, for your business, like what are your favorite platforms or platform?
Yeah. I would say LinkedIn. I really enjoy sharing on there, and I have enjoyed a number of your coaching sessions and tips and some of your in-person presentations. And I think it's a great, powerful platform, for interacting with professionals and at the same time not getting sucked in.
Yeah.
Like maybe a Facebook platform or, I also post sometimes to Instagram, and I find it is a bit distracting from life. So
Mm.
I'll go in there with one intention and then just get kind of sucked in all these different directions. And so now, if I am posting on there or even going on there, I'll set a little timer and be
Mm.
strict with myself about getting off.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
try to be on Facebook as little as possible. In fact, I've thought of even removing the presence. I just don't know
mm,
what's involved there.
right, right. Well, I'm going to like in the comments, like I've mentioned this, like I really you did a video and you shared it on LinkedIn and you were walking through the grocery store and just going through like what it is you're putting in your cart. So I'm going to look for that and I'm going to reshare it in the comments underneath this video because I really enjoyed it. And also, Paige, you have some really
Thank
great
you.
like LinkedIn newsletters as well. So I'm going to add a couple in there as well. And I will, if you can if you can like send to me in the DMs, like the link for the signing up or the registration for the next cohort that you're having, that would be great. And I'd like to share it there. So I think this is my second last question coming to you. How do your clients feel once they begin working with you?
You cut out a little bit. I'm sorry. How do my clients?
How do your clients feel once they begin working with you?
Oh, okay. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I think many are surprised by how great they can feel once, on the nourishment side, once they start eating and nourishing themselves in a certain way. Um, things that they lived with, they had no idea what was possible to remove in terms of
Mm.
symptoms. And then with the mindset shift, they just find it so much more freeing to go through their day, especially with relationships and their inner voice, uh, in a way that offers more peace, more ease, more empowerment and creativity rather than force and reactivity. So
Mm.
it's a practice. And yeah, we're always evolving, but I think women really enjoy that freedom, especially interacting with their kids and their teens and their husbands to to have a bit more freedom in that interaction and a little also more compassion and understanding for where the other person's coming from.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was really important that I ask that question. Like I tend to ask this question, like, how do people feel after? But I know that like having that healthy mindset and like it's a constant journey. And I really wanted everyone to know like what it's like as they're working with you, that they've got that support. Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks for asking in that way. Yeah, I mean, even within weeks, I think people really enjoy like lesser symptoms, from bloating to headaches to brain fog. They're sleeping through the night, and I've had people's um, heart rates drop from the 70s to high 50s. And this was a woman who was fit and running on a regular basis. So it really is incredible how some of these health practices and strategies can really benefit you,
Yeah,
your
thank you.
vitality.
Yeah, thanks. So before we go, Paige, you are saying some wonderful things. I mean, I have learned so much already. And I would love to know, and the audience too, like where are the two best places to follow you or to learn more from what it is that you're doing?
Yeah. So LinkedIn, Paige Percival, is a great place. And on my healthcoachpage.ca website, they can come, they can learn more about the mastermind or my one-on-one. And I also have a 7-day free reset on there
Mm,
where they can learn some nourishment practices, some other kind of lifestyle shifts, and sleep optimization tools.
okay, so I'm going to make sure that that gets on the comments as well. Well, I just want to quickly say hello, Dorothy. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Paige, like, thank you so much for saying yes to being a guest on Strategize Your Business Online. I am always learning from you. I'm looking forward to your no pressure. I mean, I don't know if you have one coming up, but you usually have a LinkedIn newsletter on Saturdays. So I am looking forward to that coming up. And yeah, but thank you so much again for being here. Yeah.
Thank you again. I'm so honored to be asked, and I'm really grateful for you, both for this and also on LinkedIn. That newsletter wouldn't even happen if it weren't for you. So thanks for leading the way on this platform as well.
Thank you so much, Paige. So look out for the fact that we are going to be updating the comments and with the wonderful content that Paige is putting up, as well as that 7-day reset. So thanks, everybody. I will see you next week. Have yourself a great week. Take care.
Bye. Thank you.